What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about my top 5 games of 2020 so far. So, on my second channel, which I'll leave a link for in the description below, if you guys want to check out my second channel, subscribe there. That would mean a lot to me. I actually did this a few months ago, and I did 3 games that are my favorite games of 2020. Now, a lot more games has come out since then, so I've updated the list, and I do want to do this again as the year progresses. Obviously, October has a lot of games, so there's a ton of games coming out still in the next couple of weeks, and then through September, through November. So I really have a lot of fun making these kind of videos. Let me know, as always, your guys' list. Also, if you like me making these videos as well, what other kinds of top listings you want me to make. I'm down, honestly, to make anything. Again, second channel's link will be in the description below, and let's jump into this. So, number 5, we have Doom Eternal. This was a really, really good game. This made my top 3 list. Now, it's moved down because more games has come out, but honestly, I really love Doom. Games that are probably honorable mentions I should probably throw in there are like Dreams. I actually really, really like Dreams. Overall, there's been some really solid games this year. Even Destroy All Humans remake, SpongeBob's remake. There's been some really, really good ones. But Doom Eternal, just an enormous amount of fun. I have my gripes with the first game, or the 2016, the kind of reboot. But this game, I think, solved a lot of it. It's, as always, insanely fun to play. The story was there. I felt something. I felt like I was following, an actual tale. Just a really, really fun time. Very difficult if you want it to be difficult, right? I really like battle mode. I love the multiplayer. I played that multiplayer actually quite a lot. As I was playing it quite a lot, I actually got pretty darn good at it. I'm sure if I played it now, I'd be pretty terrible. But I think overall, this is easily one of the better games that came out in 2020. This next one is going to make people, I think some people, very, very mad. The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I know maybe the people that are very anti-Last of Us, the first thing you'll say is, oh my God, like this shouldn't have made your list. Look, as I was making this list and I'm looking through these games, even when I think about games that came out this year, I don't always think about The Last of Us Part 2, but honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm forcing myself to not think about it. Look, there are some major flaws in that game. I do not doubt them. I don't disagree with them. I actually do think there are some major problems, okay? It's not, I feel like, as good as the first game when it came out. I don't think it's the greatest game ever of all time, all this kind of stuff, okay? So I do agree with the gripes, but when I think about that game, even some of the stuff I hate some of the stuff, I feel like there's still a lot of power to it. And beyond that, this game is just, I think, in a lot of ways, truly spectacular. Again, say what you want about, I'd say 2, maybe 3 main parts, like sort of the beginning, the ending, and then the switch, okay, if you guys haven't played it, right, without spoiling it. Those are obviously, I think, the biggest things. Looking past that, but even also kind of accepting them, or just being like, okay, it happened. Let's just, if we want to accept it, we can accept it. If we want to move through it, we move through it. But beyond that, I mean, the acting was outrageously good, okay? Seeing Ellie return, although they did some, some things with her character, let's just say that, I thought she was really good. Ashley Johnson did such a phenomenal job. I love Ellie as a character. I still do. I really still do. I'm so happy that I was able to play a game for some of it to play as Ellie, okay? I really love the combat, the visual. I mean, really, again, say what you want about Naughty Dog, in terms of like not being at the top anymore. Visually, pushing the system, pushing just boundaries in general. Again, even if you don't like what they did with the story, which I completely, again, I have nothing against that. Think about what they did, though. I mean, they definitely were willing to be brave and bold, and that I honestly feel like that should stand for something. But even again, if you don't think that, I love the gameplay. I think it's the best put together, like in terms of the game. I know some people thought it was repetitive or kind of too much like the first game. I mean, the first game, I loved it. I love the gameplay. So this one, I think, did all the right things. Again, visually, the different areas, the set pieces in a game that's not necessarily built around set pieces. Again, I kind of feel like I force myself to not think about this game or to not like this game in general, when in reality, in a lot of ways, this was probably the best game of the year. Not in all ways, and honestly, that's why I think there's better games. That's why I have 3 games that are higher than it. But in some ways, I think this is the best game that's ever come out. I truly do. I will go so far to say that. In other ways, it holds the game extremely back. We've talked about it before. Do I still trust Naughty Dog? Do I want them to make a part 3? I have videos on all that kind of stuff. But I'm trying to kind of get through to myself, too, not to feel sorry about liking a large amount of that game and not to feel sorry about putting it on this list. So if you disagree, hey, I don't want to lose you. I really don't. I don't want you to unsubscribe because I like The Last of Us and that's just something you can't get by. So if that means it, I'm sorry, but at the same time, I got to stay true to myself, and that's where I put it. And ultimately, this is also just a YouTube video and just a list, okay? Number 3, Ghost of Tsushima. This game is phenomenal. This game is absolutely phenomenal. I was very much considering putting this at number 2. I think you guys may be surprised at number 2, but this game just does so many things right. In a different way than The Last of Us, see, Ghost of Tsushima, and I've always said this, I think what this game did is it nailed what it tried to be. It was setting out to be an open-world samurai game, and it nailed it. Is it the best open-world game ever? No. Is it the best story game ever? No. Is it the best combat, open-world game ever? No. Honestly, it does all of those things average. Some things are better. I actually really love the sword fighting, so I'll say that's a lot better than average, right? But sometimes the world feels empty. Sometimes you are repeating pretty much the same thing over and over. Some of the side quests, some of the characters aren't that great, but at the end of the day, I like the main story. I love the character. I love some of the characters in this game. Okay, I love mainly what they're trying to do, and you're not going to get another game like this. So again, does it push open world games? No. And honestly, reviews actually said that the first couple days, and I didn't want to believe that, but after playing quite a bit of it for myself, I think that's a good way of saying it. The game doesn't do anything revolutionary, but I think it nails what it set out to be, and for that, I mean, you gotta give it. You really do. I think you gotta give it some praise. So this is one of Sucker Punch's, I think, greatest achievements. I don't think it's the best game they've ever made. I feel like I really love Infamous 2, so maybe that one is to me, but Ghost of Tsushima is absolutely incredible. Number 2, a game that just came out, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. This game obviously took me by storm or took me by surprise. I had said it in videos I've made about this game. I didn't know about this game. I pride myself, honestly, and I've said this before, right, on talking about lots of different games, right? Some people know me just for the DC stuff. Some people know me maybe for Marvel's Avengers. Some people know me for this or that, Pirates, right? Different kind of movies that I've done in the past too. But in all reality, I cover pretty much anything. I'm trying to cover a lot of smaller games this fall, a game like Windbound, Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I mean, these are games that really speak to me. Fall Guys, I mean, it's a smaller game. It's a small studio. I can't believe, and it's not like it never existed before. It's been around at like the PAXs of the world. I mean, it's existed, and I just never literally given it the time of day. Honestly, it's just never been shown to me, or I've never, gone out to seek it, because I think if I did, I would have been praising this game from the beginning. This game is outrageously fun, and normally with these kind of games, maybe this changes too. Maybe I end up dropping it on my list a little bit by the end of the year, because a thing that can happen is maybe it just gets old, you know what I mean, or that kind of sensation of maybe being like so upset, which I have been multiple times, of constantly losing or getting literally to where I should have won and then I choke and I don't do it. Maybe that'll eventually get old and that'll kind of diminish it. But as long as they update this game, which it seems like, right, because multiple seasons, I think this game can hang out. And almost every night when I turn on my PlayStation to play something for a couple hours, Fall Guys is the game I go to almost every time. And honestly, I don't care what kind of game. It could be the smallest game in the world. It could be the biggest game in the world. But if you do that for me, right, if every day I kind of feel the need to play that game, I mean, that's a sign of just an amazing, like, to me, you know what I mean? That's a game that really connects to me in some way. So it would be a disservice to Fall Guys if I didn't put it at number 2, which only leaves number 1, Final Fantasy VII's Remake. Now, I know some people may put, like, Persona 5 Royal as a game, obviously, that came out this year that everybody loves. I have Persona 5. I don't have Royal, and so I can't count something like that. There are obviously games that I haven't played this year, okay? I'm not claiming that I've played I think I've played, this has been a pretty good year for me for games, so I've tried to give a ton of games a chance. I've played a lot of video games this year, and I've tried to play a lot of them, from start to finish. So this has been one of the stronger years for me. Final Fantasy VII, I mean, man, it's got cliches that do get annoying, honestly, especially like as the story progresses, as you get really into the story, like characters just doing things that don't make sense in the world, or like maybe realistically don't make sense, right? Or like things that shouldn't happen if a character just does this, but obviously they're not going to do that because it's a game, and mainly because also it's a Japanese game, so there's also kind of that divide. So it's not a perfect game, I'm not going to say that, but I mean, all right, visually, come on, it's different from The Last of Us. Last of Us, I feel like Last of Us Part 2 is one of, if not, I'd say like top 2, honestly, I put it top 2 of like the most, beautiful games. Okay, in terms of like their facial capture and all that kind of stuff, and literally attention to every detail. I mean, does it get better than The Last of Us? Final Fantasy, it's got a different, you know what I mean? There's not facial features on, you know what I mean? So it's different, but come on, some of those CGI scenes or CG scenes in Final Fantasy, there's like 2 of them or 3 of them towards the end of this game that are like the most beautiful thing, literally from like a movie. And I mean, Final Fantasy in general is kind of a movie, right? Literally the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. There's a lot of colors in that game. There's a different kind of art style that makes that game look really, really nice. So I don't really know which game I like visually more, Last of Us or Final Fantasy. I honestly feel like both of their visuals help the game immensely. So there's that. There is a connection to these characters, although, again, sometimes they do dumb things. I love everybody in this game. You know what I mean? Like the characters you're supposed to like and the characters you're supposed to feel something for and relationships you're supposed to feel something for, they're all there. They are all there. It's such a good game. The combat, I love it. I love the combat. It's a challenging game at times. I didn't even play it on like the hardest mode, so I'm sure it obviously gets more. But man, from start to finish, there are lulls. Again, so it's not a perfect game. This honestly, this year has been so good for video games in general. And honestly, I don't think a game has put everything together as well as Final Fantasy VII did. Are there games that still can? Yeah, there's actually quite a few games coming out this fall that I think could beat it. I honestly don't know. I feel like Final Fantasy has stood at number 1 since I've played it. Last of Us didn't beat it. Ghost of Tsushima didn't beat it. Nothing's beating it. So we'll have to see going into the fall if anything can. But I'm hoping for a lot of really awesome games this fall. So guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What are your top 5 games of the year so far? What are some games that maybe you haven't liked very much of this year? Any lists that you want me to make going forward? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And thank you all so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. And I hope to see you all on the next video.